Welcome back to WRPG, the channel where we dive deep into legendary role-playing games, dark fantasy worlds, and unforgettable stories that stay with you long after the screen fades to black. Today, we are talking about a very special corner of the RPG universe, a genre that doesn't rely on flashy cameras or over-the-shoulder action, but instead pulls you in through atmosphere, systems, and pure role-playing depth. Yes, we're talking about isometric RPGs. Isometric RPGs are often misunderstood. Some people think they are old school, slow, or too complex. But those who truly play them know the truth. These games offer some of the deepest character progression, the most rewarding combat systems, and some of the best storytelling ever created in gaming history. In this video, WRPG proudly presents 7 of the best isometric RPGs of all time that are absolutely worth playing. These games are not just good, they are genre-defining experiences that represent different philosophies of RPG design, from hardcore action combat, to philosophical storytelling, to deep tactical decision-making. Whether you are a veteran RPG player or someone looking to finally step into the isometric world, this list is made for you. So sit back, relax, and let's journey through 7 legendary isometric RPGs that every RPG fan should experience at least once. Path of Exile 2 represents the evolution of one of the most complex and respected action RPGs ever made. It is not simply a sequel, but a complete reimagining of systems, pacing, and presentation while staying true to the brutal identity that fans love. Set in the dark and unforgiving world of Rayclast, Path of Exile 2 introduces a brand new campaign that runs parallel to the original story. The tone is darker, the environments feel more alive, and the world reacts more strongly to the player's presence. Every area feels handcrafted, filled with danger, secrets, and the constant feeling that survival is never guaranteed. What truly sets Path of Exile 2 apart is its deep character customization. The legendary passive skill tree returns, but now with improved clarity and better flow. Skill gems have been redesigned, making abilities feel more impactful while maintaining the near-infinite build possibilities the series is known for. Every decision matters. One wrong choice can define your character's strengths and weaknesses for dozens of hours. Combat feels heavier and more tactical compared to the first game. Animations are smoother, enemy behaviors are more intelligent, and boss fights demand attention rather than mindless clicking. Path of Exile 2 respects the player's intelligence and rewards patience, planning, and experimentation. For players who love complexity, mastery, and endless replayability, Path of Exile 2 is not just worth playing. It is an experience that can easily consume hundreds, if not thousands of hours. Diablo 4 is Blizzard's return to the dark roots that defined the franchise in its early days. Gone is the colorful, arcade-like tone of Diablo 3. In its place stands a grim, haunting world filled with despair, religious fanaticism, and ancient evil. The world of Sanctuary feels more grounded and oppressive than ever before. Villages are broken, people are desperate, and the presence of demonic forces feels constant. The open-world structure allows players to explore at their own pace, uncovering side stories that add emotional weight to the main narrative. Combat in Diablo 4 is smooth, responsive, and incredibly satisfying. Each class feels distinct, with abilities that are visually powerful and mechanically meaningful. The skill system strikes a balance between accessibility and depth, making it easy to understand but difficult to fully master. What makes Diablo 4 stand out is its atmosphere. The sound design, music, and environmental storytelling work together to create a sense of dread that never fully goes away. Boss fights feel intense and cinematic, while dungeons maintain a sense of danger even for experienced players. Diablo 4 may not be the most complex isometric RPG on this list, but it excels at delivering a polished, immersive experience that respects the legacy of the genre while modernizing it for a global audience. Hades 2 takes the fast-paced, stylish foundation of its predecessor and expands it into something deeper, darker, and more emotionally resonant. This time, you step into the role of Milanoe, a witch and princess of the underworld, on a mission driven by fate, rebellion, and ancient prophecy. The isometric perspective allows the combat to shine with clarity and precision. Every movement feels intentional, every attack responsive, and every ability beautifully animated. Hades 2 builds on the original's combat by adding new mechanics, deeper synergies, and more tactical options that reward skilled play. Narratively, Hades 2 continues Supergiant Games' tradition of blending gameplay and storytelling seamlessly. Dialogue changes based on your actions. Characters remember your failures and successes, and the story unfolds gradually through repetition rather than exposition. The art direction is stunning, with a distinct visual identity that combines mythological elegance with dark fantasy aesthetics. Music and voice acting elevate every moment, making even repeated runs feel meaningful. Hades 2 proves that isometric RPGs can be fast, emotional, and stylish without sacrificing depth. It is a masterclass in modern game design and a must-play for anyone who values gameplay married perfectly with narrative. Divinity, Original Sin Enhanced Edition is a celebration of player freedom. It is a game that constantly asks, what do you want to do? And then gives you the tools to do it. Set in the rich fantasy world of Rivelin, the game places heavy emphasis on choice, consequence, and creativity. The story adapts to your decisions. Dialogues can be influenced by your character's personality, and even quests can be completed in dozens of different ways. Combat is turn-based and deeply tactical. The environment itself becomes a weapon. Fire spreads, water conducts electricity, poison explodes, and every battlefield is a puzzle waiting to be solved. Victory rarely comes from raw power alone, but from clever positioning and creative use of skills. The Enhanced Edition improves everything from voice acting to balance, making the experience smoother and more immersive. Playing solo or in co-op both feel equally rewarding, with co-op introducing shared decision-making that can lead to unexpected outcomes. Divinity, Original Sin is not just an RPG. It is a sandbox of imagination where the player truly feels in control of the adventure. Grim Dawn is a love letter to classic action RPG fans who crave atmosphere, depth, and relentless challenge. Set in a post-apocalyptic world torn apart by supernatural forces, the game delivers a bleak tone that perfectly matches its gameplay. The dual-class system allows players to combine two masteries, creating unique builds that feel personal and powerful. This system encourages experimentation and replayability, as no two characters ever feel exactly the same. Combat is deliberate and impactful. Enemies are dangerous, especially on higher difficulties, and survival often depends on proper resistances, positioning, and build planning. Grim Dawn does not hold the player's hand, but it rewards those who invest time in understanding its systems. Lore is delivered subtly through environmental storytelling, item descriptions, and optional quests. The world feels ancient, broken, and full of forgotten tragedies. For players who miss the darker tone of classic RPGs and want a deep, rewarding experience without modern distractions, Grim Dawn remains one of the finest isometric RPGs ever created. Disco Elysium. The final cut is unlike any RPG you have ever played. There is no traditional combat, no loot-driven progression, and no focus on action. Instead, the entire game revolves around dialogue, psychology, and existential choice. You play as a deeply flawed detective waking up with no memory, tasked with solving a murder in a politically fractured city. The isometric perspective frames the world like a painting, emphasizing mood and detail rather than spectacle. The skill system represents different aspects of your personality. Your thoughts argue with each other, influence your perception, and sometimes sabotage your decisions. Failure is not punished but embraced, often leading to the most memorable moments in the game. The final cut adds full voice acting, elevating the narrative to an entirely new level. The writing is intelligent, emotional, and often philosophical, tackling themes of identity, regret, ideology, and hope. Disco Elysium proves that RPGs do not need combat to be intense. It is a powerful reminder that role-playing is about inhabiting a character, not just controlling one. No Rest for the Wicked is a bold blend of isometric RPG design and Souls-like combat philosophy. It is slow, deliberate, and unapologetically challenging. Every movement matters. Stamina management, timing, and positioning are critical to survival. Combat is weighty and punishing, forcing players to learn enemy patterns rather than relying on brute force. The world is dark and grounded, with a painterly art style that gives it a unique visual identity. Exploration feels dangerous and resources are limited, reinforcing the feeling of vulnerability. Progression is meaningful, with each upgrade feeling earned rather than guaranteed. The game respects patience and discipline, rewarding players who adapt rather than rush. No Rest for the Wicked is not for everyone, but for those who crave tension, mastery, and a sense of accomplishment, it offers an unforgettable experience. These 7 isometric RPGs represent the very best the genre has to offer. Each game brings its own identity, whether through deep character progression, challenging combat, or powerful storytelling that stays with the player long after the journey ends. Together, they show that isometric RPGs are not limited by perspective, but strengthened by it. From dark and brutal worlds to emotional and philosophical narratives, these games challenge more than just your reflexes. They test your decisions, your patience, and your ability to truly role-play a character. This is what makes the genre timeless and endlessly rewarding for players who seek depth over simplicity. If you are searching for RPG experiences that feel meaningful, demanding, and unforgettable, every title on this list is worth playing. This has been WRP. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring new worlds and never stop role-playing.